Yo, 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 what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome into another episode of Monday Night Sports Talk. We got a lot to talk about in tonight's episode. I'm wearing my Jets mask because I'm pretty contagious of how terrible this organization is. But at the same time, we're happy. So I got to take it off because we are happy that the Jets tank is on. Or are we happy? We don't know. Lots of mixed emotions after the game yesterday against the Las Vegas Raiders. And you're going to hear a lot of our reactions. Ryan from Jets Talk is here as our special guest this week on Monday Night Sports Talk. How's it going, Ryan?
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to talking a bunch of Jets.
Absolutely, bro. Thank you for joining in. If you guys are not already subscribed, make sure you go subscribe to Jets Talk 24/7. I leave it down below in the description. And before we get into all the topics, let's go around the table and introduce everybody. So for the people that don't know who's who. So Jack, you want to introduce yourself to everybody that don't know who you are?
Of course, man. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jack. You can follow me on Twitter at Jack_NYJets, right up there on the screen. And I've been looking forward to this all day. Yesterday was terrible. Let's do it.
Ali, how about you, my man?
Yesterday was terrible. I mean, that was a great day. I mean,
Listen, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
All right, let's get started.
Before we get into our reactions to the game, because that's going to be the first thing we're talking about, I'm going to show you mine and Jack's reactions to the game. So here is the moment that the Jets lost the game when Henry Ruggs scored the touchdown at the last second. They're blitzing everybody. Derek Carr throws it up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Henry Ruggs just won it. Oh my gosh. The tank lives on. The tank lives on, boys. I don't know how to feel. I wanted that W, but now we lost. So let's go, I guess. But what just happened? So that was the reaction from me and Jack. As you saw, Jack was completely frozen and did not know what to say. His jaw was to the ground. And as I was conflicted, I was happy. I was sad. I was depressed. I was jumping for joy. I've never felt that much emotions going through my brain because it was just a roller coaster. So, Ryan, what was your reaction to that moment? Because a lot of Jets fans have their own different reactions, and I feel like mine was very conflicted. So what was yours?
I was ecstatic. I'm working at a Christmas tree farm for the weekends leading up to Christmas, and I'm watching the game on a cell phone, as it goes by, and I'm like, oh no, Jets are going to win. This is what's going to happen. We're not going to get Trevor Lawrence. Maybe I'll look at the Jaguars game and hopefully they're going to win. And, maybe I can root for this win and I'll be like sort of excited, but like, God, it could have been so perfect. And then like the touchdown happens and I literally start running around this Christmas tree like farm with my arms out like Santonio Holmes, just like screaming at people like, what the hell is this guy doing? I'm like, I don't care. Leave me alone. I'm having fun. But I was ecstatic. I was very, very happy with the outcome of that game. So you were happy with it. Ali, how about you, bro? What was your reaction when you saw that?
I was so happy. I mean, I thought we were gonna win because I had a Patriots fan. So my brother-in-law's brother, he's a Patriots fan, and my brother-in-law's a Falcons fan. And they were both sitting next to me, and they were rooting against me like fully. They're like, "Yes, the Jets are gonna win." They started to do the Jets chant. They're like messing with my head because I want to lose. And I was like, "Oh, we're about to win." And then Henry Ruggs, I literally jumped off my seat and was running around the house. And my niece was with me too. So my niece was running around with me because she didn't know what the hell was going on. So, I mean, if that can explain how I felt about that, it was nuts. And then with the Jacksonville game going on, that hour was the most hectic hour in the world.
Yeah, man. I mean, you couldn't put that into words. I feel like that was one of the most entertaining Jets games I've watched in a long time in terms of just all the situation that goes into it, everything that's factoring in. Almost all the Jets fans are rooting against the team, and then it looks like they're going to win because they stop them in the fourth down at the goal line, and we're like, wow, we're about to win. And so in my brain, I'm like, all right, I guess I got to swallow the fact that we're going to get our first W. So I'm like, okay, I'll be optimistic in this. I'll be the only person on Jets Twitter to be optimistic that we get a W, even though we might lose out on Trevor Lawrence. And that's what I was going through my brain, even though a little thing inside of me was like, oh no, we lost Trevor Lawrence. And then that happened. You guys saw my reaction So that segues into Jack's reaction, which was in complete disbelief. And he looked like the Jets just ruined his soul. And he was just at a loss for words. And the first thing Jack said after 3 minutes after the Henry Ruggs touchdown was, "I hate my life." So, Jack, what was your reaction to that?
All right, listen, guys. I just wanna reiterate to people that we are allowed to be angry at how bad this team is. We don't all have to be like so super down to watch a loss every week. Like, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to be the worst team of all time, but at the same time, I want Trevor Lawrence. I want him badly. Me and Richie were flipping back and forth between the Jags game and the Jets game yesterday. Like Richie said, it was a roller coaster of emotions. But man, I thought we were gonna get one, and I don't know what to say. I didn't know what to say then. I still don't know what to say now. But I certainly don't want to go down as the worst team of all time. So for the people out there that are a bit ticked off about yesterday, I'm with you. I feel you. But overall, obviously, we're in it for Trevor Lawrence. I said it multiple times yesterday. I'll say it again tonight. I do want Trevor Lawrence, but the Jets have ruined this season for us. So it's like there's no proper way to root for the Jets. You can do it however you want to do it. It's like everybody grieves in their own way. Everybody watches Jets football their own way when they're 0-12. So, I was a little bit pissed off yesterday, but the tank rolls on. And, yeah.
Yeah, man, the tank rolls on. If you guys are enjoying tonight's episode with our special guest, Ryan from Jets Talk, make sure you smash that like button. We're very appreciative to have Ryan in on the stream. We had Matt O'Leary on. We had TD Finns Talk. Next up is Ryan from Jets Talk. He is closing in on 10,000 subscribers. So make sure you go hit that subscribe button for my man Ryan, because he's about to hit a crazy milestone. So let's keep talking about this game. Let's keep talking about it, because this is going to go down in the history books for the New York Jets, especially if we do end up getting that first pick. Because if we lose out, which looks very likely, then we're going to look back on that game and say, wow, if we did not give up that touchdown, if Gregg Williams did not call the worst play call I've ever seen from a defensive coordinator, we would be sitting there without Trevor Lawrence and without all this stuff. So let's talk about Gregg Williams, because obviously we know the news that happened today. He is gone. He is fired. Adam Gase relieved him of his duties. Yes, Adam Gase is the one that fired him. Pretty crazy, which is normal for a head coach to fire an assistant coach, but it's just annoying that Adam Gase is getting the leeway here. So let's talk about that, actually. Let's talk about Gregg Williams being fired. So, Ryan, what was your first reaction to the news, and especially the fact that Adam Gase is the one that relieved him of his duties?
I think for me, I sort of expected this to happen anyway. I mean, not really in season. I figured they'd just wait the extra 4 games and just, clean house all at once. Hearing that Gase is the one that's, ultimately pulled the trigger, it's frustrating, because it's like, he pushed out the old GM and he did what he did in Miami. And it's like, well, is he doing the same thing here? Is he like setting himself up to stay an extra year and, draft Trevor Lawrence? He's all in on the tank and they just needed a scapegoat for this one game. And then I sort of think about it. I'm like, you know what? Gregg Williams knows he's not here next year. He's not trying to like actively tank. So for me, I don't know. I'm not sure. I just, I'm all over the place right now.
We're all over the place. It's hard to put things into word as a Jets fan of what's going on in this situation. And for the Jets to fire him after that, it's like, oh, wow. So you fire a coach who had the craziest play call that cost us the game, but you don't fire the coach that is worst offensive play caller in the history of the NFL, who is last in every single offensive category. And he's the reason why we've been losing for the rest of the year. So it doesn't make sense to me. I feel like Gregg Williams has been having a really bad season. He should have been fired after the year, but Adam Gase better be fired after the year. That's all I got to say. So, Ali, what was your reaction to Gregg Williams being fired?
I mean, the same as Ryan. I was expecting it. And after I saw that play, I knew Gase was going to, after the locker room, how Marcus Maye reacted, all these guys reacted to it. I think it just had to happen. And, I don't think it was a crazy play call that people are calling it, because Gregg Williams is known for blitzing. And, that's his favorite play call, to do a cover 0 blitz. So I'm not totally surprised by the call. But I think Michael Nania on Twitter, he posted a video of Gase not even looking at the field when that play was going on. He was walking the other way. He was walking the other to look over there, and he wasn't watching the play. And then he's like, I should have called a timeout. Like, the play is going, bro. How are you going to call a timeout when you're looking the other direction of the play call? So, he's going to get fired. Gase is going to get fired. We just got to wait it out because we got to complete the tank. But with the Gregg Williams, man, I'm sad he leaves, but it is what it is. He was going to leave anyways in the end of the season.
Yeah, man. I honestly was a big fan of Gregg Williams. I feel like every single Jets fan was, at least last year, because he turned this defense around, and we had a lot of injuries last year. He turned practice squad players that looked like elite players, and is just seeing Gregg Williams get fired before Adam Gase just doesn't sit with me well, because we all know that we knew Gregg Williams needed to be fired after the year because his defense fell apart and the defense regressed. But it just frustrates me that Gase is still here. I still have hope that Gase will be gone, but we'll get into that topic as well. So before we get into Jack's talk, we got a donation from V-Man. Hey, Jets Talk, I have a brilliant Tribeca Trevor t-shirt concept you are going to love. By the way, game had me scared that tank was ruined. Yeah, V-Man's got you, man. V-Man's everywhere. Appreciate the donation. And as always, V-Man. So, Jack, what was your thoughts when you saw the news that Gregg Williams is fired? As the lead left us for a quick second, I think technical difficulty.
Yeah, he'll be back. But, Gregg was going to be gone at the end of the season anyway. We all knew that. You can't make that call. You can't make that call. Rex Ryan said it was the dumbest play call of all time that he's ever seen. You can't do it. I forget how many seconds off the top of my head were left. But I remember that Ruggs ended up scoring with, I believe, 5 seconds left on the clock. That's when he walked into the end zone. And you can't call a cover zero in that situation. You just can't do it. I know Ali said, that's Gregg Williams' thing. He likes to blitz. But it doesn't matter, because that just that looks fishy, man. That looks like to everybody, wow, they're really giving this season up. And now what's even fishier is that, Gase, we know that Gase is the one that fired him. This feels very weird. It feels very off to me. Like they needed to finally hold someone accountable, but it's not going to be Gase. So they needed to wait for something completely egregious like that to finally pull the trigger on firing Gregg Williams, And that kind of stuff makes me terrified when I think about it, because like Ryan briefly mentioned, some of this really feels like it's Adam Gase setting himself up for next season and Trevor Lawrence. Like, I'm so genuine when I say that. Like, it scares the shit out of me to think about this, but that's the way I feel when I see this, because obviously the defense has struggled this year, but our offense is either last or second to last in every category you can find. And there's reasons beyond reasons to fire Adam Gase long before week 12. And it doesn't make much sense to me, man. It doesn't make much sense to me. For one bad call, something is very off here. It feels like Adam Gase really has a lot more power than we ever thought he did. That's just my take on it, and it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I feel you, man. We got a good question from Chris. Thank you for the donation, my man. Does Gregg getting fired help the tank even more? Well, we're going to have an assistant interim guy that was the inside linebackers coach fill in. And, I don't know if it's going to help the tank, because if you guys saw Quinnen Williams' reaction on Twitter, he deleted it eventually, but he put the emojis of his hand on his face, meaning that he's not happy that Gregg Williams got fired. And to be honest, I am a big fan. I feel like Gregg Williams is a big reason why Quinnen Williams is developing. Quinnen Williams has been playing under Gregg Williams ever since he came into the league. And the defensive line has been playing very well under Gregg Williams, but the secondary has not. So I feel like the defensive linemen, they're pretty upset that Gregg Williams is gone, but the secondary is probably relieved because they're not getting any help back there, because I don't know. That's just really my take on it, but we got a lot to get into. So do you guys think that Gregg getting fired is going to help out the tank or what? Because I feel like him being so aggressive on that play call is just so him, like Ali mentioned, that it doesn't really change the fact that we're in that situation next week against Seattle, which is completely unrealistic, even though they lost to the Giants. Oh, they're going to throw a prevent defense out there? I don't know. Do you guys feel like Gregg Williams being fired is going to help or not help the tank? Ryan, we'll start with you.
I don't know. I mean, I felt like the defense, while it's had its struggles this year, has kind of I don't want to say almost kept the Jets in some games, but at least the running defense portion of it did. And watching Quinnen develop the way that he has, the same way that Aaron Donald developed under Gregg Williams, I feel like that was an important step in his development. What gets me is like Marcus Maye making the comments after the game about how, we shouldn't have been in that play call. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the Jets have a timeout? Like, couldn't he have stopped the clock and just sort of reset it? It's like, wait, this doesn't seem to make sense. I feel like if you're a captain on the defense, having a few extra seconds to think about the play that's going to be the Hail Mary to end the game would have been a smart move. In terms of is it going to help the tank or hurt the tank, I think it's sort of indifferent. We're playing so many young players at this point, and our linebacking core is so decimated that I think we're just ultimately going to lose unless Sam Darnold has another game like he did yesterday, only without the turnovers. I think Sam's really going to have to play out of his mind to beat any of these next four opponents.
Yeah, man, I agree. So we're going to segue into the new topic, which is, will Adam Gase be fired after the season? So I went on Twitter right after Gregg Williams got fired, and I was just firing at everybody. I'm like, fire Adam Gase right now. Not tomorrow, not after the season, right now. And I had a lot of Jets fans reply to me saying, no, we need to keep Gase. We need to keep Gase. He's good for the tank. We need him because we're going to lose. My take on that is, we're losing out with or without Adam Gase. And I don't think Adam Gase being fired and Dowell Loggins being as the interim head coach going to change anything. We've seen Dowell Loggins call plays, hasn't really done anything different. I just want Adam Gase fired right now, just so I don't have to worry about the fact of him potentially being here next season. So, Jack, what's your take on it? And do you think Adam Gase will be fired after the season?
Dude, I'll just back up what I said, a couple minutes ago. It scared the living crap out of me this morning when I saw that Gregg Williams was fired, because it really does feel like Gase is like pulling the strings and setting himself up to be the head coach next year. And I've said in the episodes before this and pretty much everything I've done with you, Rich, I've said Adam Gase is going to be fired. Adam Gase is going to be fired. 99.9% chance. This is like the first time that I'm really skeptical all of a sudden. And it's terrifying because all the evidence points to him staying. Our hopes is that he goes, but as of right now, the evidence points to him staying because they're the worst team in the league, the worst offense by far. And, we've players have became draft picks. Gregg Williams gets fired after one bad call. Gregg Williams was the only semi-respectable coach we had on this team, so it's crazy to me. I think he's truly brainwashed Christopher Johnson. I don't know what goes on between those two. It scares me, man. I don't know what else to say. It just scares me.
All right, so Ali, can you help us and ease our pain? Because I know that you think that Gase will be fired 100%. So tell us why Gase will be fired.
Because he lost the locker room again. I mean, after with Gregg Williams and how you lose this type of game, you lose the locker room. And with Marcus Maye calling shots at him, I think, the locker room's lost. I don't know how this team is going to actually come out next Sunday and play a football game after a loss like that and going 0-12. He's done. I mean, he's done. I don't think I know TD Finstock before on our live, he was just like, he's going to stay. It's Adam Gase, he's going to stay. But I doubt that. It's New York. He's going to go 0-16, and that's the only option he has. We know that Christopher Johnson's never make a decision during the season. We all know that, and that's the same thing they did with Todd Bowles, and they waited until the end of the season. And right after that Week 17 matchup against the Patriots, we should expect a firing that night. That's what we should expect. That's what we did with Todd Bowles. That's what we should do with Adam Gase, because that's what they're waiting. They're waiting for the end of the season because it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's coaching right now. It doesn't matter anything. We just want him out of our lives at the end of the season. And, I think he's definitely out. I think Ian Rappaport did it. Connor Hughes also said it. So I think he's done. It's just a matter of time. We just got to wait.
Yeah, man, I hope you're right because we need that to happen. Ryan, will Adam Gase be fired after the season?
Yeah, he's gone. I know as terrifying as it is to be a Jet fan and think like, oh, this guy's in on the tank. He's going to hang around. I don't think you stay around with 0-16. Now, I don't know. I understand the thought of, hey, let's move on from him right now. And then you we're going to lose with or without him. I'm just concerned that you generate any kind of spark. I think you want to just go flat. Fire him at the end of the season. Like Ali said, if it's right after the game or the next morning after the game, I think it's fine. I don't know if I'm going to see Adam Gase again in the NFL. I think he's probably done. I don't know what team would want to bring him on as their, offensive coordinator or quarterbacks coach or anything, given what he saw transpire in New York with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, man. And the craziest thing about this is I remember when the Jets hired Adam Gase, and obviously every Jets fan was upset with it. And in the interview, Adam Gase said, yeah, I was shocked to get a call from the Jets to get an interview because when I got fired from Miami, I thought I was over. I'm like, he even thought that his career as a coach was over. And the Jets were like, hey, wait, Peyton Manning said that you're like really good. Oh, man, it really, really drives me insane. So let's get into another topic that's somewhat positive. Am I right? Some positives from the Jets game yesterday because it was a competitive game. It wasn't a game that we lost. It wasn't a game that was uncompetitive. It was one of those games that we went out there and obviously we were winning with 15 seconds remaining. So we'll start with Jack. So Jack, what are some positives you can take away from that game yesterday?
We could talk about Quinn Williams, who's like really becoming a stud and coming into his own. He just looks tenacious out there and he looks mean. Like you said, though, Rich, the loss of Gregg Williams now does worry me about Quinn's continued development for the rest of the year. But I think now he'll just be playing even angrier. So I think he'll just be continuing to get better. Mekhi Becton is a beast. Once again, he's just throwing people around. He did have, a couple plays yesterday where he just played terrible and it led to turnovers, right? One turnover. Was it two? Both the fumbles, right?
He looked good he looked good in run game, but not good in pass protection.
That's just what I was about to say, is that he struggled in the pass game yesterday, but every play that was ran behind Mekhi went for at least 5 or 6 yards, it seemed like. So he definitely had a pretty solid day. Obviously, you hate to see him get beat in the pass protection. But I'd say the two young guys, Quinn Williams and Mekhi Becton.
I agree, man. Ali, any positives you took away from yesterday's game?
Yep. I mean, Frank Gore should not get the ball 30 carries. The run game was efficient. Ty Johnson, 22 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Josh Adams, 8 for 74. Adam, bro, come on. Look at your roster. And Frank Gore is a 70-year-old running back, and you have two young running backs behind him who lit up the Raiders yesterday. And you still want to – Frank Gore – we wouldn't have been this close if Frank Gore didn't get hurt on the first play that he rushed. We wouldn't have – I don't think it would have been this close because the running game was a big part of the Jets' success yesterday. Sam Darnold only threw for 186 yards, which is not a lot compared to what Baker Mayfield threw yesterday. So, this is the things that make me think that Adam Gase is gone, bro. You're not losing the young guys that can actually move the ball. You give it to Frank Gore, who's a 70-year-old running back, and, expect results, which is not going to happen. So, that was a positive to see, that the Jets running game is actually good and the offensive line is not as bad as we thought it was.
Yeah, I agree, man. The running game was ridiculous yesterday. So, Ryan, what is your positives from the Jets game yesterday?
Yeah, my positives kind of fall in line with those guys. I think the offensive line and the running game, primarily behind Mekhi Becton and Pat Elflein playing guard, not a bad pickup by Joe Douglas. I think the chemistry between him and Becton could continue to grow over the course of the next 4 weeks. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we have in that. Hopefully he shows a little bit more. Maybe we wind up, reeling him in on a 1-year extension into next year, and then maybe one of the guard spots at least has competition. I still think we should go out. If you can get Greg Tooney or something like that, you still go out and do that. But the running game and the offensive line were impressive. The pass protection by Becton, I think with the stunts, that's a little bit more complicated with Elflein there. So I think once they can kind of figure that out, what did he have? Two sacks he gave up, or two pressures or fumbles or whatever. Regardless of that, I think having the running game going and watching Ty Johnson and and Josh Adams just go off. I think that's how you want to see this team built, have an identity, build through that offensive line and just bulldoze over guys. Like that's what guys want to have happen. If you can dominate that line of scrimmage, it's going to make everything easier for the quarterback. You can start, working in some play actions, some RPOs. We actually got to see Sam run an RPO for a touchdown yesterday. So that was kind of refreshing to see as well. So I think when you have that offensive line moving like that, it opens up the playbook a lot more.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Obviously, the running attack was borderline elite yesterday, and that has a lot to do with Mekhi Becton. Baldy breakdown, Brian Baldinger, he broke down the entire Jets offense, and he kept saying, you need to build around Highway 77, and this is what happens when you become a left-handed football team. The reason why we had around 200 yards on the ground is because of Mekhi Becton. He was opening up holes, and here's a fun fact for everybody that is pretty sad that I tweeted out. Ty Johnson is the first running back to rush for over 100 yards under Adam Gase. That is pathetic. We've had Le'Veon Bell. We've had a lot of good running backs. Ty Johnson run for 100 yards. Maybe Ty Johnson is going to be part of this team's future because he's young. He's 23. He looks really impressive to me. So he's definitely a bright spot. And like you said, Pat Eflin, or however you say his name, those two guys, Johnson and Eflin, are two guys that Joe Douglas brought in off the waivers. And that's a good sign that Joe Douglas is trying to capitalize on every single avenue to improve this team. And those are two guys that could potentially be part of the solution next year. Maybe not they're both starters. I don't think Ty Johnson's going to be our bell cow next year, but if he could be our number 3 running back, and if Pat can become our backup left guard, or maybe he does develop a chemistry with Mekhi Becton, he's our starter, then so be it. Another positive I want to bring up is Marcus Maye. He proved to me that he deserves an extension. He looked like an absolute dog back there. We know how inexperienced our secondary is. We have 3 rookies back there with Lamar Jackson, Ashton Davis, Jalvin Guidry, and Bryce Hall. That's actually 4 rookies I just mentioned. And Marcus Maye was the veteran back there that was doing everything. I mean, pass deflections, being on his guy, tackling people. He did have 2 or 3 missed tackles, but overall, Marcus Maye just has that leadership mentality that I love. And I would like to see him back next year because he is a free agent, but if I'm Marcus Maye, I'm running away from this team, and I don't know if he really has the loyalty and wanting to be the Jet, especially after his best buddy Jamal Adams left the team, and I don't know if he's going to want to stay here. We'll see with that, but it's just an interesting time to be a Jets fan because it's hard to find positives. One negative that is just drives me crazy, and you know what? Before I get into a negative, I want to bring up, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had his best game of the season. Not the best game of his life, but he had 3 total touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. He did have 3 turnovers, which is not good. He had a bad boneheaded interception, which looks like he's doing all the time, and he had 2 fumbles. So Sam Darnold, he finally got, 2 touchdown passes, and he broke the streak. So it's good to see him back there. You guys know I'm a big Sam fan. I know that it might be time to move on from him, and I'm very open for Trevor Lawrence, but at the same time, I still am a fan of Sam Darnold as a human being, and I'll be rooting for him every Sunday, whether he's on the Jets or whatever team he is. So it's good to see Sam Darnold go out there and ball out because it was very unfortunate to see him just be defeated. And it sickens me to see the Jets ruin him. So another quick thing I want to talk about that really drove me insane is Denzel Mims getting 3 targets. 3 targets. Okay, so Denzel Mims is probably our most talented playmaker on the team, in my opinion, on the outside. You can argue Jameson Crowder, but Jameson Crowder is Sam Darnold's security blanket, but Denzel Mims needs the targets to develop, and he's not getting them. I don't understand. And for those of you guys that are asking about the Bill Cowher rumors, we will get into that later on the stream, so don't worry. I see you guys in the chat. We'll get into the whole Bill Cowher rumors. But Ryan, so what's going on with them not targeting Denzel Mims? Do you think it's just Sam Darnold not finding him? Is it Adam Gase not calling the plays for him? Is it Denzel not getting open? What do you think is the reason why he got 3 targets yesterday?
I don't know. To me, that makes absolutely no sense. I feel like you should be giving this guy double-digit targets every game. When you think about Sam Darnold only having 14 completions and 2 of them were to Mims, then it's like, all right, well, he had a decent percentage of the completions his way. But at the same time, like, this guy's shown he's talented. The guy, he's acrobatic. He's tenacious when he's running his route. He's actually like fighting with the corner the whole way down the field, and you're getting pass interference calls. You're gaining yardage without even having a completion. So why not give him an opportunity? Those jump ball opportunities. If he's one-on-one with someone, let him go up and let him go up and eat. Let him get his catches. I couldn't agree with you more. I think you have to feed this guy more and more reps. Work him out through the whole route tree. See what he can do. He's been good blocking it. You watch some of the plays that they had yesterday. It was impressive. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. I don't know. I think there's more opportunities for him that should be there, and I think it's Adam Gase. I think part of it is Sam as well, but I don't know. I want to see more going to Mims.
I agree, man. It just frustrates me how they don't just give the kid a chance. So, Ali, what's your take on the whole Denzel Mims getting 3 total targets? Who's it on?
I mean, I think you guys are expecting too much. I think you're expecting too much in the way of this offense of how Adam Gase is running it. He's not going to get the targets because he should get the targets, but he's not going to get the targets. And, it's because of coaching. It's because of Sam Darnold. It's just, we know that Denzel Mims open most of the game. We know he can do whatever he can to get open and get the ball. But with Sam Darnold's regression, Adam Gase stupid play calls, there's no way for him to succeed and get the ball. So, we all we needed to see is him making a couple plays, showing what he's got, and he showed a lot so far. So, I think that's more than enough for me. I think he'll be good for us in the future. So, that's enough for me. But hopefully he gets more catches. But I'm not banking on it because it's just this offense is terrible.
Yeah, you're right. We're trying to have high expectations with this offense, but all I'm asking for is just to throw the ball his way because I just want to see him develop, man. It's just frustrating. So, Jack, do you want to just quickly brief on Denzel Mims getting 3 targets?
Yeah, it's terrible. I say it all the time that he doesn't get the targets he deserves, and that it's no way to analyze what you have in him. We see that Denzel Mims so far has made the most out of the opportunities that have come his way for the most part. So, with that, I say that it's because of a few different reasons. It's because of the play calling, obviously. It's because of Sam Darnold and his overall poor play this year. As unfortunate as it is to say, but it's true. It's because of the offensive line and the pass protection never really being as good as it should be. The run blocking seems to be much better for us consistently. So yeah, it's a bunch of different factors, but this offseason is going to be a crazy one. So let's see if with a new quarterback and with new personnel on the offensive line and with a new head coach, hopefully, let's see what happens with Denzel Mims because I think he has all the traits to be a wide receiver 1 for us in the future.
I agree, man. Good take. If you guys are new to the stream, make sure you smash that like button if you guys are enjoying. We got 47 likes. If you guys are enjoying the stream with Jets Talk 24/7, Ali, Jack, and myself, make sure you run up that like button. And again, subscribe to Jets Talk. That is linked down below in the description. And also subscribe to Jets Media if you are not already. We are going live every single Monday night at 7 o'clock. So stay tuned for that and subscribe to not miss any of the Monday Night Sports Talk. So let's get into another topic that came out today, which is the Bill Cowher rumors. So this is pretty interesting. Obviously, the rumors, so we do not know this is true. It's all speculation. Nothing is 100%. But it came out today that Bill Cowher potentially is interested in becoming the Jets head coach and coming out of retirement. His wife is a diehard Jets fan, and we know he's a very well-respected guy. So, Jets talk. Do you buy this? Would you want him a Jets head coach? Do you think it's just bogus? Like, what does this tell you?
So for me, some of the best head coaches in the NFL, or maybe not some of the best, but some of the most well-rounded people in the NFL are special teams coaches. Guys like John Harbaugh, who was once a special teams coach. Judge for the Giants now is another example of that. Bill Cowher started his career as a special teams coach, and obviously he's got the huge coaching career with the Steelers as well, so he has plenty of experience there. He hasn't coached in 14 years, so I don't know if football's kind of passed him by. We've basically had 2 CBAs since he's been a coach, and it's a totally different game than when he left the game. So if the game hasn't passed him by and Douglas is in charge of this, if Douglas makes this decision, then I'm all on board with it. I think I have learned to trust Joe Douglas's opinion on a lot of different things. One of the biggest things when searching for a head coach for me is we need instant respect. That's why I'm not super huge on Jim Harbaugh, but I think that type of personality, like a Bill Cowher, someone who has an established resume, I think is important to change the culture of this team, similar to the way Bill Parcells changed it back in the 90s. I think if you go with another coordinator, it could be exciting, but you could also flop like we had happen with Todd Bowles. I'd still like to see Joe Brady. I'd like to see some offensive firepower in here, but I could understand if the Jets decided to go the route of Bill Cowher or Jim Harbaugh.
Interesting. Ali, what are you taking from these rumors?
I think they're true, honestly, because I think Boomer and Rich, they work together closely at CBS, and I think these rumors are true. I think he's thinking about it. I don't think he's not 100% sold on it, but I think he has a potential of possibly a candidate because, again, the Jets are an attractive place. People are saying that it's not, but it really, really is. And a big thing is if Joe Douglas is the reason, if any top head coach comes, Joe Douglas has the most respect in this entire league. Everyone likes him. And, and people are trusting the process like we are trying to trust the process. Everyone's trusting the process of what Joe Douglas is doing. And I think he could possibly come. And I would love it if he could come because I feel like he has experience. But the only one thing I can maybe see could be a factor in it is because the game from 2007 when he was coaching has changed so much from 2020. I mean, it's a dramatic change. So if he can adapt to that, and I think it would be a great hire for the Jets. He brings accountability, the locker room presence that this team needs, and I think it would be a solid pickup for the Jets.
Interesting take. Jack, what are your thoughts on these rumors about Bill Cowher?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with things that both of you guys just said. My initial reaction when I saw the rumors circulating earlier today was thinking that has he been out of the coaching game for too long? But then I said, he's such a respected guy, and it's not like he has been on a deserted island somewhere. He's been what is he on Fox or on CBS? He's on one of the pregame shows that I watch every week. And he's been around football. He knows the league currently. And he's a respected guy. And to touch on the Joe Douglas thing as well, I am there needs to be something I put my faith into in this team. So it's been Joe Douglas. If Joe Douglas can get behind it and if he's the one that gets to make the decision or really influence the decision, because it comes down to the owners, whether or not they make the head coaching hire. But I mean, I totally agree that you need a guy who's established to come in here and change the culture of this team. And yeah, I think Bill Cowher is the type of guy that instills a little bit of fear into his players, which I've always thought is a great thing, and I've always wanted in a Jets head coach. I feel like not fear, but you guys know what I mean. Like I feel like the last kind of semblance we had of that was like maybe Rex Ryan, but not even as extreme as like a Bill Cowher. So I would love if a Bill Cowher type was the next guy to take over this team, because we need it, man. I mean, as of right now, literally anybody besides Adam Gase would do. But if it could be somebody like Cowher, then yeah, sure, that would be awesome. Yeah,
so my whole take on this is, bringing in a guy like Bill Cowher would be extremely interesting because he has a huge resume, like Ali mentioned, and he hasn't been in the game for a while. But he is a guy that would come in here, and one thing he would need to do is get a lot of well-respected coordinators under him, because he's not a offensive or defensive-minded coach. Like Ryan mentioned, he came in as a special teams guy, and special team coordinators do have success. You see what Joe Judge is doing with the Giants. You see Harbaugh with the Ravens. And I honestly am in favor of hiring a coach like that. I feel like what the Jets need to do is, I saw somebody on Twitter, a talk show, talk about this, and it made so much sense, is when you're going out there to hire a coach, you should not hire a coach for the scheme. You need to hire the coach for what are you bringing to the organization? What kind of culture, what kind of foundation are you doing? What are you going to do? You don't want to interview a coach and be like, oh yeah, I'm bringing in a West Coast style offense, or no, I'm bringing in this kind of defense, or I'm bringing in this type of scheme. You need to be a leader of men. You need to be a guy that people look at in the locker room, and I want to play for you. I want to, sweat, throw up, whatever you got to do to win for you. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you want your players to look at your head coach and just do everything in your power to win. And that's the opposite of Adam Gase. He is a offensive coordinator with the head coaching job. He shouldn't even be an offensive coordinator at the most. You know what I'm trying to say? I feel like the Jets just have been doing that. They did not work with Todd Bowles. He was a defensive-minded guy, and he was more a defensive guy, and then we brought him in, fired. Adam Gase, offensive-minded guy, fired. We need a guy that is not an offensive or defensive guy and could be a leader of men. That's just my take. I'm okay with bringing in an offensive guru like a Joe Brady or Eric Bieniemy, but we'll get into that later on. But I just love what as much as it sickens me to say it, I'm not a fan of the Giants, but I do like what I see from Joe Judge. That's the type of coach that I feel like this New York Jets team needs, a guy that's going to come in here and just change the culture, change the way of everything in the building. And I like Joe Judge because he's not a guy that is an offensive or defensive guy. He's going to bring in his coordinators to do all the schematic stuff while I'm going to be the head coach. So that's really my take on that. Let's segue into who the Jets should hire as the next head coach. So Ryan, there's a lot of people out there that Jets fans want. This is a loaded question, but in a perfect world, who are you, or if you can't name one, you can name some. So who are you want to hire as the Jets next head coach?
I want a guy who's been established, and I've sort of, as I've gone through each week, I'm kind of processing things differently. I'm still high on Joe Brady. I would like Arthur Smith as well. I think they're both interesting offensive minds, and I know O'Leary doesn't really like it, but I kind of am digging the Harbaugh move. I know it's not it feels like a very Jets move. Like I feel like Chris Johnson or Woody Johnson makes that move, not so much a Joe Douglas making that move. But with Douglas having the connection with John Harbaugh down in Baltimore, I could see a connection, with Harbaugh, with Jim Harbaugh coming over from Michigan and wanting to sort of reset that idea of him and sort of wipe the stain that was Michigan not off his resume, but sort of clean the slate. And then I think you could see him bring back his former offensive coordinator in Gregg Williams. So even Roman's having a rough time this second year with Lamar, and I think he could use a change of scenery. I don't know if it's going to be – I thought for sure he was going to be the head coach initially. And then as the season kind of wore on, I don't know if I feel that way anymore. But I could see a Harbaugh and a Roman matchup here. And for me, I don't love it, but Harbaugh just tends to win. Like he comes in from Stanford after just creating Andrew Luck and making him an awesome quarterback. He goes into San Francisco, and then you have Alex Smith, who was a bust from being a number 1 overall pick. Starts lighting it up, builds an offense around Colin Kaepernick. They tear it up. They go to 3 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl. That's the kind of structure you want for the New York Jets and the type of winning atmosphere. Now, what has me concerned is, okay, are there rumors about his personality and him maybe fighting for power with Joe Douglas? I don't like that aspect. Has the pro game passed him by? I don't necessarily think that. I think the college game, a lot of those concepts are transferring over to the pro game, and maybe that's a bad thing considering his Michigan stint. But I think for me, as I sort of go through each week and I sort of think of other players, or not other players, other head coaches, someone like a Bill Cowher or someone like a Jim Harbaugh sort of feels right, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like you're more into the special teams type of guy that is going to instill a foundation and change the culture. So we kind of see eye to eye on that. So Ali, is there any perfect guy out there, or you want to name some 3 candidates that you want to see be the next Jets head coach?
Honestly, I've been like Ryan. I'm like all over the place right now. I'm trying to figure out which ones I actually love. The guys that I actually think are decent. I have a list like Greg Williams, Joe Brady, Eric Bieniemy, Arthur Smith, Matt Campbell if he comes out of college. There's a lot of options for the Jets, and I think it's going to be very attractive. And I think Campbell will actually have an interview for the Jets if they offer him this time around, especially if you get the first overall pick and you get Trevor Lawrence on your team. So I think it's going to be tough. I think I love what Joe Brady has done with the Panthers. I mean, he changed that team completely. That offense went from complete almost dead last to a top 10, top 15 offense, which is pretty crazy. Arthur Smith's been doing pretty well. So it's all over the place right now. I think the Jets have a lot of options, but there are a lot of teams that are going to be looking for a head coach as well. So I haven't wrapped one name around yet. So, those are the options, and the Jets are going to have options this year.
Yeah, hopefully we have options because that means Gase is gone, right, guys? Just kidding. It's 100% going to be fired, 1,000%. Jack, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like a running list of anybody that I've really been looking at, but like you said before, Richie, we just need somebody who because the head coach is somebody who needs to lead the whole team. You know, you said a leader of men. You know, that's what the head coach needs to be. You know, it shouldn't be a guy who's just bringing in this defense or that offense. You know, you put it beautifully before. I agreed with everything you said about that. So I just want, you know, if it has to be somebody like a Cowher or like Ryan mentioned with Harbaugh, I just want somebody established who can lead this team in the right direction. And it also matters, you know, we got to think about our quarterback situation next year. Somebody like, if we have Trevor Lawrence, you know, somebody like Eric Bieniemy would be exciting. You know, that would be really exciting. So we just need the right guy. Let's talk as if Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback next year. We need the right guy to groom him and ensure that what happened with Sam does not happen with Trevor Lawrence, because I think we'll all be just picking a different team at that point, right? Because we've just been through so much over the last 3 years alone. But yeah, we just need an established figure, or if not an established head coach figure, somebody like Bieniemy who's had success, who comes from a good coaching tree under Andy Reid, and you know, just somebody who can lead this team in the right direction.
Yeah, that's the only thing we can ask for. We need someone that's established. There, you can go the flashy way of the upcoming next guy from the college, Matt Campbell. I know he's a very popular pick for Jets fans, or you go the safe route and go the Harbaugh, or you go the Bill Cowher. I don't know, man. I'm all over the place. I don't really have a number one or number two guy. I just want somebody in here, like I mentioned earlier, that can be a leader of men. I think that Bill Cowher, with young coordinators under him, excites me. I mean, I don't know how realistic it is, but bringing in a guy that has won a lot of games before, and he has that old school mentality, and that can like push this team into the right direction with Bill Cowher, and he can hire the young and upcoming innovative offensive mind or brilliant defensive mind and just build a really good team, because that's what this New York Jets team needs the most. They need to have a lot of coaches that does the right thing, because we cannot have the same thing with Adam Gase. It's just the system of disaster. We have Adam Gase, who's supposed to be the offensive guru, and then we have an offensive coordinator who is also the quarterback's coach. There should have been a separate quarterback's coach that is in Sam Darnold's ear the whole time, and Dowell Loggins has two jobs, and he's doing a shitty job at both of them. So the entire system that the Johnsons laid out for the past 2 years when they first hired Adam Gase was completely dysfunctional. I'm hoping Woody Johnson can come back from the UK and just blow this thing up and just have an awakening moment and be like, oh, wait, this is what we have to do. We need to do this. And then hopefully Woody Johnson does the right thing, because like you said, if we do have that first pick and we do have Trevor Lawrence, I think that this New York Jets team is going to be the number one list on all the coaches, where they want to go. It's going to be the number one destination that everyone wants to go to, because we have ridiculous draft capital. We have a lot of cap space, and we're going to have the best quarterback in the last generation. And again, it's not over yet, guys. We still have 4 games to go. We saw the Jets being competitive against the Raiders. I know that we have a lot of hard games ahead, and we're going to get into, to finish off the stream, our thoughts on the Jets-Seahawks game. So we are going up against the Seattle Seahawks team that just lost to the New York Giants, who had a backup quarterback in Colt McCoy. So this is the revenge game against Jamal Adams. This is the game that was on everyone's list before the season. We thought Le'Veon Bell will be going up against Jamal, and we came a long way since then. So, Ryan, what's your first preview of this game? What do you expect? Is there any chance the Jets win?
I don't think the Jets win. I think Seattle's going to be upset that they dropped one to the Giants backup quarterback. Now, the Giants are a tougher team than a lot of people are giving them credit for. I think people are starting to realize that now. Their defense, especially that line, has been playing well. For the Jets, I think we're going to be able to move the ball. I think you're going to see a pretty good offensive performance from Sam Darnold. I'd love to see us just sort of razzle-dazzle Jamal a few times with Mims. If there was ever one game that I would want us to win, it's this game, because their draft pick gets better for us at the end of the first round. We get to beat Jamal, and 2, they're going to be the hardest team on our schedule, along with the Rams, for strength of schedule. So if we don't lose to them, it's sort of like if we lose to them, it's going to be a harder team. So our strength of schedule gets harder, I guess, if that makes sense. Overall, I do want us to lose. I don't expect us to win. I think Russell Wilson goes off, and I think the Jets secondary will not be able to stop DK Metcalf. The guy's an absolute animal. Maybe if you make him one-dimensional, I don't know. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long shot. I mean, we didn't expect the Jets to be competitive against the Raiders, but then again, the Raiders lost in dramatic fashion to the Falcons, which was embarrassing. So who knows? Ali, what's your take on the Jets-Seahawks game coming up this Sunday?
I feel like Jamal Adams is going to line up as a wideout. I mean, I think he's going to line up as a wideout and catch a ball and get a touchdown against us. I feel like that's what's going to happen, and that's going to be that type of game. I think it's going to be an absolute blowout. I think Russell Wilson, man, he should have won that game. He should have won that game. And, I have so much respect for Russell Wilson. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. And he's going to just kill it, especially with Gregg Williams not being there. There's going to be not much blitzing. And, he's going to have a good pocket. He's going to be fine. And he's going to have a lot of time to look at his reads and get the ball out. I don't think we're going to be able to contain Lockett and DK. There's no chance we can do that. I think Bryce Hall will give a fight, but DK will win the battle. So I think we're going to lose. We're going to lose, obviously. But, it would be pretty cool to win against Jamal Adams. But, it's a loss.
Yeah. Jack, how about you? What's your preview of the Jets Seahawks?
First of all, Jamal Adams is so petty. Did you guys see? You guys hear about what he said in the post game presser after the L to the Giants, which I'm upset I didn't watch. By the way, I was shocked when I saw that after the game. I'm upset I didn't watch it, but he said, "Well, yeah, that stung." Whatever he said that hit different because it's a New York team. It stings a little bit more for me. Like, dude, no one cares. Like, you're just a player. You're not the greatest player of all time. Like, no one's like eyeing what you're doing at all times. Just like, chill out, bro. Like, no one cares about you anymore. Like, we got to stop breathing life into him because he's not on the team anymore. He's gone. So screw him, He's having a pretty bad year. I mean, coverage-wise, we all see what he still does when he rushes the passer. But, there's no shot we win this game. I mean, Russell Wilson is definitely going to have a bounce-back game. He's looking for a bounce-back game. All of a sudden, his season is not going the way he thought it would be going at this point. I'd imagine he's pretty angry and looking to absolutely dominate the one team on the schedule that should be like domination, Any given Sunday is always my mentality. You never know what's going to happen in this league. It's a crazy league, and it's hard to win games, but, this should be the most winnable schedule for any team like all year. I mean, the most winnable game for any team all year.
Yeah, so my take on this is I think that Sam Darnold is going to light it up for the next 4 games. We're going to finish the year 4-12, and Sam Darnold is going to reestablish himself as the franchise quarterback of the New York Jets, and they're going to
resign.
And he's going to get signed to an extension, and then they bring in a new head coach, and then Sam Darnold's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I got that signed football from Sam Darnold over there and my Darnold jersey over there, so don't think I'm biased towards Darnold at all. I really think it's realistic, but no, I'm just messing with you guys. So that really does it for today's episode or tonight's episode of Monday Night Sports Talk. I want to thank everybody for joining in. If you guys did not already, make sure you smash that like button and see if we can get this over 100 likes. We got 75 right now. We got 185 people watching. If you guys enjoyed this stream and you want to see more Monday Night Sports Talk, and if you want to see more Jets Talk on the channel, make sure you smash that like button. And again, make sure you go subscribe to Jets Talk. So before we end the video, let's go down to each person on the table and say your goodbyes and where we can find you. So Jack, I want to start with you.
Yeah, just first off, thank you guys so much. I always enjoy this. Ryan, it was a pleasure to meet you and to hang out with you and talk Jets with you. You're the man. So, find me on Twitter, Jack_NYJets. I'm looking forward to Knicks basketball very soon just to watch something different.
Let's go, baby.
I know Richie is as well. Check out Knicks Media if you haven't. And yeah, thanks, guys, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks, yo. Check out Knicks Media if you're a Knicks fan. Let's go, Knicks. Ali, how about you, man?
I mean, Ryan, bro, it's always fun to have our talks. We always have a talk on Monday on your channel too. So, we'll be back next week and hopefully we'll have something fun, more stuff to talk about. So, see you guys next week.
And Ryan, how about you, my man?
Thank you so much for having me on, guys. It really means a lot. It was a lot of fun talking some Jets with you guys. And I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. I just want the tank. Guys, if you want to tune in after these guys hop off, or after we hop off here, I'll have Michael Nania on my channel 8 to 10 o'clock over there. So you guys know where to find me. Richie, Jack, Ali, thank you so much for having me on.
Of course, make sure you go check out Ryan's channel. It is linked down below in the description. He's going live right after this. So again, make sure you check it out. We are at 92 likes. If you guys could give me 8 more likes to get over 100, that would be fantastic. But Ryan, it's always a pleasure for you to be on the stream. And I hope you guys have a fantastic night. Stay tuned for more Jets media content. And I'll catch you guys next week's episode. Peace out, everybody.